Today, Dedniel Nunez is expected to be activated to the roster of the New York Metropolitans. We talk about that and its impact and more on this edition of Mets Digest. What's going on, everybody? My name is Flobo Boyce, and as it is right now, I am feeling the heat. Not only because it's the wild card race, but the fact I'm in Southern California and about 120 miles from my apartment, the Mets are in town to take on the San Diego Padres, but they weren't able to do that without the help of some friends. But before we get into that, just want to say thank you so much for checking out Mets Digest. It's the number one stop shop for Mets content all around the world. And I understand you have a lot of news articles, a lot of authors, a lot of pundits, a lot of YouTube creators you go to, but you're rocking here with me. That means the world. And if you're just seeing this in your algorithm for the first time, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. You don't want to be one of those chumps out there who looks at content and not be part of the fam. Myself, Mike D'Angelo, we scour the globe, we scour the internet for the best Mets news on the planet. You know, I didn't have a chance to go to Thursday's game. I had a prior engagement, and I was kicking myself ever since. The Mets had to make a statement in San Diego, and make a statement they did. Not only did they win the game, but they won by a considerable margin. But if you guys are watching the game, one of the more shaky things of last night's game, the fact we won 8-3, was those two runs towards the end of the game. Huascar Brazoban struggled a bit, and much like his previous outings were a bit shaky, but something really happened there. The team really rallied behind him to make sure he had the confidence to move forward. And so that makes me wonder about the strengthening of our bullpen, because Brazoban was a pickup at the deadline. He looks shaky now, but we do have one of the more reliable arms being activated as of today. Dedniel Nunez, alongside Jose Butto, has been an absolute revelation for the team, being able to be electric, being able to be in high leverage situations. I can't overstate his contributions during that Subway series. So him being down for 15 days in the injury list was not the best or most ideal. You could argue that kind of coincided with some of our bullpen woes. But the bigger issue is that he's not the only person who spent time from the bullpen or the pitching rotation to the IL. We have to talk about Sean Foley, Christian Scott himself. Kodai Senga is still technically on a 60-day injured list. Drew Smith is out for the season. Brooks Raley as well. It has been rough for the pitching side of the New York Metropolitans. But what Dedniel brings back is not only someone who has the confidence to go through these high leverage situations, now backed by a team who's willing to raise each other up, but it's a sub-3 ERA. That is something we so desperately need. Am I right? Because let's be real as we try to figure out what's going to look like our pitching rotation from the top down. Basically, the walking situation and their high ERA situation are something that's giving me just a little bit of pause. But that is not the only news item here. This one is from something I read at sportsillustrated.com about the subject. Check this out here. Shout out to Kerry Kaufman, who says, the Mets bullpen has been decimated with injuries this season. We just mentioned that. Drew Smith and Brooks Raley both underwent season-ending Tommy John surgery earlier in the year. Yeah, those UCL things are really going around. Am I right? With a middle-of-the-pack team ERA of 4.14. Now, I understand that if the bats go cold, you can't win, but allowing opponents with ERA of 4.14 is not healthy. The return of Nunez is welcome heading to the final 6 weeks of the regular season, hopefully more if we make it to the playoffs. Prior to going down with the injury, which is the prostata strain, Nunez was one of the best arms out of the Mets bullpen, posting an ERA of 2.43 and a .93 whip and 24 appearances. So not only were the numbers good, but it was over a large sample size. When we talk about the durability of our pitching staff, that has been the 1B, right? The 1A is hey, we're letting teams win pretty easy. But underneath that is like the durability, right? At least I did. I wondered about Severino's innings tally, but not only did he pitch a complete game last weekend in the City Connects, he was able to shut down Dylan Cease and the Padres last night. So, hey, maybe all my focus of attention shouldn't be on Severino, but we still have to deal with the Quintana situation. Here's somebody who's pretty much in his late stage of his career, not doing too well late in the season. You really can't shuffle anybody around. So you have to have this mentality, unfortunately, that when you have Q on the mound, the bullpen has to be strong. You eventually would have to have not so much a starter, but basically an opener situation if you want to maintain the pace that we have. I know, I hate being negative, but that's just the way it is. You got to deal with the cards that you're dealt. And Carlos Mendoza has been pretty good at doing that, but still has his work cut out for him. Now, as I record this, we still haven't figured out the corresponding move, meaning who's going to be the one to be sent down, or in some cases DFA'd if they don't have options. But I want to bring up this article from Tim Britton. Tim Britton is a guy that follows the Mets and reports for The Athletic, which is a paywall sports coverage site, which I personally recommend. They're not telling me to say it here on Mets Digest. It's just a personal opinion. He says the Mets will have another decision to make to clear room for Nunez in the pen. Reed Garrett. Oh man, like Reed Garrett in his Linsanity run in May. It looks like it's going to be ending curtains for him. But Reed Garrett might be the odd man out, given that he still has minor league options and has not been sharp since his own return from the IL. The Mets could also cut ties with either Adam Ottavino or Ryan Stanek, who hasn't pitched well since being acquired at the trade deadline. Now that's interesting, because if you scroll Twitter right now, and we had a bit of a scientific or unscientific poll, and a lot of people are kind of done with Ottavino, right? His windup is too slow. He doesn't seem like himself. He came back for the 1 year with less money, and it's not even worth that. Cut that man. And well, if I was playing a video game like Out of the Park Baseball, which is the general manager game, you wouldn't be wrong. But I also feel David Stearns is also good at correcting his own mistakes, right? We don't know where Joey Wendell or Zach Short is right now, because we brought those guys in. They didn't work. He let them go. Jake Diekman brought them in. Didn't work. Let them go. Maybe Stanek might be going. It's kind of like a course correction situation. But Reed Garrett would be an odd case. Here's somebody that was scorching hot, had a really bad dip. If you guys are long-term listeners of the show, I talked about the time I had to cut him instantly from my fantasy baseball team. But when the IL came back, it was serviceable. Not necessarily evoking all kinds of confidence, but enough to get you in a couple innings or a couple pitches. Would you want to cut bait in that situation? Or maybe give him a reset because he has the minor league option. So either way, that's something that I'm waiting to see as we record this. But the fact that Dedniel Nunez is back, somebody who is, when healthy, has the temperament to handle high leverage situations, because let's be frank, everything from now on is a high leverage situation, because we are typically right now outside of the wild card picture. You have to go through San Diego, which has been red hot. I'm projecting a split, but some people are saying I'm optimistic. Then you go to Arizona, snakes alive. Those are super hot as well. In fact, both San Diego and Arizona are on the wild card tally as of this recording. And then you go to Chicago, and Chicago White Sox are a team that's on pace to win the fewest or lose the most games ever in the modern era. But we all know that our team really has a weird thing when it comes to weaker teams. We kind of slip a banana peel, whether it's the Marlins or the Athletics. So I wouldn't even look past Chicago as well. So you got to at least try to get 2 out of 3 out of Chicago, if not sweep them. Try to get 1 or 2 out of Arizona and split at least here in San Diego to give yourself a shot. I love the team because it makes every game exciting. Every game counts in August. There's no margin for error. But I can tell you, you can sit back and think about how many times we didn't have to put ourselves in a situation if only our pitching was a bit stronger. But that gets remedied today. Dedniel Nunez back in the bullpen. I want to know your thoughts about this. You let me know in the comments below. He's been an absolute dog for us. Is it too late? Will he be back into the rhythm? Are we holding a seat warm? Would you use him as kind of like a long relief between him and Butel on those Quintana appearances? I'm dying to hear from you. But until next time, as always, it's LGM to the bitter end.